let's introduce you to one more method utilizing the for loop syntax. We're going to introduce you to a function called range. Now, the range function returns a numeric value, and we could use it a few different ways within our loops. Take a look. So first thing, I'm going to create a for loop. I'm going to say for x in range. So here's our range function. So when I open up the parentheses there, here inside of the idle window, I get the range function, and I can tell it the stopping value, such as I'll say 10. And I'll put my colon in there. And I'm just going to make it really simple. I'm going to say print x. So now I'm going to build a loop a set number of times utilizing the range function. We saw earlier, utilizing the while function, I could say while I was less than or equal to 10. And then I would have to increment I every time I wanted it to re-loop again and check that value and compare it against 10. Well, something very similar here, but utilizing the for loop with the range function. Take a look. I'll save this. I'm going to F5 to execute the module. And there's my loop. Now, something a little bit different than what we experienced, although we could do this with a while loop. The range function generates those numbers with a stopping point of 10, but it starts at 0. Default value, starting point at 0. Does that sound familiar? We were working with collections earlier. Indexed collections, such as a list, are 0 based. And the range objects starts, by default, starts with 0. Now let's take this a step further. Again, it generated all those numbers stopping at 9 because we actually started at 0, right? But we ran 10 times. Now we can also do a range within the range. So I can say something like this. I want to start at 4, but I want to go to 20. All right, so now for each x in the range, 4 to 20, we're going to print out x. Now, remember when I put just 10 in there earlier, we didn't get 10 back, right? Because it started at the 0 based. But here, we'll say 4 comma 20, so it's going to go from 4 to 19. So let's go ahead and run this. I'll save that. I'm going to F5 to execute. There's my 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and so on. It got to 19. All right, excluding that number there. All right, so now we got a true range. I want to build a loop something a set number of times, but I want to start at a specific value and then end at that value. Now, something else that we can do, and this is something that if you program in other languages, it might look a little familiar. But again, different syntax here, utilizing the range function here inside of Python. You've also got an incrementing argument that you can pass into range. So right now we're going from 4 to 20, or 4 to 19, excluding that stopping point value, but we're incrementing by 1s. Maybe I want to increment by 2s. I want this to happen for every other. Let's try it. I'm going to save that. I'll rerun again, F5. And 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on. So now I'm running every other value within that range, just by specifying the incrementing, or the incrementing stepping value within the for loop. So try these out. This is huge. Once again, utilizing the range function built into Python, readily accessible to us, but we can specify either a number. I want to do it from 0 to here, or we can specify that range, 4 to 20, and we can specify the incrementing, the stepping value within that loop. Here I got a 3, so now I'm going to go every third value within that range. So try this out. It's another flavor for a for loop, but it allows you to run it a set number of times.